When faced with scary or unknown situations, animals like cows have a tendency to flee in order to preserve their own safety. Usually farmers keep their cattle in line by keeping them in groups, or herding them together. However, that doesn't always work to ease their frazzled nerves. When Bonnie the cow was forced to leave the home she was raised in, she took a chance and ran far away, into the woods, presumably never to be seen by her human owners again. No human was fast enough to catch her. However, another pack of animals was. Bonnie the baby cow lived a relatively normal life until she was 4 months old. She was born in upstate New York and spent her days joined at the hip with her mother. But one day, something awful happened. The owner of the farm died, and Bonnie's future became very uncertain. Bonnie's life changed overnight. She and the other cows who lived on the farm were scheduled to be rounded up and sold. To make matters worse, Bonnie and her mother would be separated. When the time finally came for Bonnie to be loaded into a truck that would take her away from the farm, she did something no one expected. She made a break for it. Even though she was small, Bonnie boldly raced away from the truck and fled to the nearby forest. Although Bonnie's farm family searched high and low, they couldn't find her. Months passed and there was still no sign of her. Among the people who lived near the farm, the story of Bonnie, the cow who lived in the woods, became almost local lore. At first, people believed that the little calf was dead, but then the sightings started. Some people saw Bonnie walking through their backyards. She also appeared in footage taken by wildlife cameras set up in the area. Venturing out of the safety of the forest only for occasional sightings, Bonnie quickly became a local celebrity, dividing the community into two groups: those who were Team Bonnie and rooted for her to survive, and those who were determined to shoot and eat her, reported one local. Even Bonnie's enemies knew that the cow didn't stand much of a chance of surviving in the 3 feet of snow that covered the forest. But no matter how hard they looked, Bonnie continued to evade them. No one could understand how Bonnie was managing to stay alive until the day a trail camera snapped a serendipitous and quite surprising image. It was Bonnie, surrounded by a group of deer. While Bonnie may have been separated from her birth mother, she wasn't hurting for family in the least. A group of wild deer had apparently found the sweet calf and made her part of their family. Since she had lost her first family, and cattle are herd animals, the deer helped Bonnie survive and accepted her as their own, eating, sleeping and running together, said a representative from a local animal shelter. While Bonnie clearly made a family all her own in the forest, no matter how happy she might have been in the moment, she was going to need human attention if she would ever grow up into a happy cow. Luckily, one local woman was up to the task. Her name was Becky, and every day during the long winter she would bring food, water, and fresh bedding out to Bonnie in the woods. Eventually, she managed to earn the cow's trust, and at that point, Becky reached out to the people at the farm sanctuary, who had extensive experience with cows like Bonnie, in hopes they would be able to help out her bovine buddy. The folks at Farm Sanctuary knew that it might be challenging to convince Bonnie to leave the woods, but they weren't ready for just how hard it would be. She'd spent 8 months in the woods, and while life was rough, it was the one she was used to and she was loath to give it up. It took 3 different attempts before the team retrieved Bonnie. Since it was too risky to try catching her in the woods, we built a corral around her eating space, patiently waiting to close her in, said a representative of the sanctuary. Bonnie was very wary of our presence, however. She only let Becky touch her, and would run away if anyone else got too close. Finally, the sanctuary was able to coax Bonnie to them with the use of a tempting array of snacks, and a mild sedative. When she woke up in her new home she was initially confused, but pretty quickly she started to realize just how good her new life was going to be. While she might have missed her friends in the woods, Bonnie didn't waste any time at all befriending some of the other animals who lived alongside her at the animal sanctuary. The people at the sanctuary couldn't be happier with how things worked out. Bonnie beat the odds, they said. Here, our resilient new friend will spend her life in peace, surrounded by caring humans and a loving herd of her fellow rescued cattle. When Becky started going outside to feed the cow who lived in the woods, many people thought she was crazy. But she ignored them and continued to do what she knew in her heart was the right thing. While Bonnie's story is an unusual one, it teaches a lot of valuable lessons. A family doesn't always look the way you expect it to look, and sometimes the help we need the most is the help we are the least inclined to embrace. If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds. It goes without saying that miniature horses are, well, pretty small. They're so tiny, in fact, that it can be difficult to tell how old they are. Each one of them looks like a baby horse, even when they're fully mature. Diana Gilger felt the same way about her mini-horse, Jazz. She was naturally petite, but there was something else about her that even Diana didn't know. One morning, while walking into the stables, she found out that little Jazz actually had a very big surprise waiting for her. Diana Gilger of Guthrie, Oklahoma, always knew her miniature horse, Jazz, was special. One day, she stumbled upon a precious sight that showed exactly how unique she was. Her mini-horse had given birth to the tiniest baby that Diana had ever seen. No one had any idea how this baby, whom they later named Itty Bitty Hope, had turned out so small. Weighing just 13 pounds, Itty Bitty Hope's weight and height made her the smallest mini-horse ever born. However, her record-setting status wasn't important to Diana and her family. They just wanted to make sure that this new addition was safe and healthy. While she might be a record-breaking horse, Hope was also an animal who needed to be cared for. That was their top priority. Diana asked a veterinarian who specialized in the care of miniature horses to come to the stables, where they could give the newborn foal a thorough checkup. Even though she was supposed to be small, Hope was still at risk for health issues. Although everyone was worried about potential complications, they could finally breathe easy. Hope was given a clean bill of health. She might have been minuscule, but she had an enormous future ahead of her. Diana wanted to make sure that, when she found a permanent home for Itty Bitty Hope, it would be one where her size would be seen as a positive attribute and not a drawback. She adored mini horses, and she needed to find Hope a home that would feel the same way. Sometimes horses who are Hope's size have a very hard time finding people willing to adopt them and treat them with the love and respect they deserve. Thankfully, this wasn't true for Hope. She got really lucky, actually. Hope was purchased by a couple named Jim and Linda Woods, who were the owners of a non-profit organization called Mini Hooves of Love. It was the perfect fit for all parties involved. Jim and Linda were eager to add Hope to their family of helpful little horses. They knew as soon as they met her that Hope would be the perfect addition to their growing family, and there was a very special reason why. That was because their service provided something that was like nothing ever heard of before. True to their company's name, Jim and Linda offer therapeutic mini-horse visits to nursing homes, hospitals, shelters, and hospices. Services like this can make all the difference in the world, and it was something that Hope was made for. From the minute she began working with Jim and Linda, she has been a favorite member of their team. Hope's specialty was working with children who have come out of abusive homes. Maybe it was her size, or maybe it was her tender demeanor. Perhaps it was even a combination of the two. Either way, Hope really had a knack with connecting with the people around her. She was a soothing presence, especially among children. It seemed that even the most skittish of kids were drawn to her, and they were eager to give her a big hug. Naturally, Hope was just as eager to be there for them. It seemed as if little Hope had really found her calling. Jim and Linda couldn't have been happier with how well she fit in with the rest of their team. It was like she was where she was born to be. Of course, people asked about her size all the time, but Jim and Linda said they wanted her to have a quiet, happy life away from the spotlight. They could have made a lot of money putting her on display, but that wouldn't have helped the community at large, now would it? Though many miniature horses can suffer from serious medical problems, Hope has stayed healthy so far. There were concerns that this would change as she got older, but she's still in great shape. Her coat and mane began to turn gray and white at a very young age, but that hasn't slowed her down at all. She's still trotting with a true spring in her step. It's as if she knew her mission was to help people and bring a smile to their faces. From children who were in need of a companion to senior citizens who delighted in meeting a new friend, everyone seemed to light up whenever Hope entered a room. This mini-horse was truly special. Once you see her on the go, you'll understand exactly why everyone who met Hope immediately fell in love with her. She might have been small in size, but she definitely wasn't lacking in the personality department.